Do let me know when my screen is shared.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so
So thank you. Just a quick introduction there. Greetings, everyone. This is GDG Soweto, and we'll be giving Mohammed will be giving a talk on Angular and showing us how to create forms. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. You can take it away.
okay, sure. Hey guys, how are you? First of all, hope you are all doing well. This is Mohammad Awais. I'm a senior software engineer. I have worked with multiple organizations and currently working with one of the top of the clients here at Pakistan. And I have around 6+ years of experience working on moreover JavaScript technologies like React and Angular. And also I'm expert in backend developments with Ruby on Rails and Node.js. So today, first of all, thank you, GDG Soweto, for providing me the platform to talk over and share my experience and knowledge here with all of you guys. And so this is a Google event and is sponsored by JetBrains as well. So let's move ahead. So for today, we will be talking about building powerful components using control value accessor interface in Angular. So while working with the form components in Angular, there is actually a reactivity provided by Angular. So it's actually amazing to look and feel. And with the reactivity, we can fly high with the forms using reactive states and maintaining all kind of stuff. So beside that, actually, the first question arises is like why we are using or why we need help of control value accessor while working with the dynamic forms in Angular application. So today we will be talking about that. So first of all, why control value accessor and how control value accessor will helping us in creating the forms elements and Angular application. So the control value accessor is basically it's an interface which is provided by Angular and which can act as a bridge between your Angular Forms API and native element in your DOM. DOM is actually in the dev tools. If we are accessing a website or web application, so if we open dev tool, so we can see there all the structure and tree coming with the full of elements and all kind of stuff. So that's actually DOM. Now Angular Forms API, Angular Forms had actually exposed the module for forms and reactive forms. Like if we are working on an Angular application, so we should have to use that Angular Forms reactive forms module and forms module as well. So with the help of those, actually we should have to work with the forms in Angular application. Like let's suppose I have a sign up form or I have a login form. So the input fields, they should be binded with that and used with that form group. So that's actually Angular Forms group API. So like let's suppose I have a huge form. I have three input boxes, and inside after three input boxes, I want to list down some categories in some extensive UI rather than like it will be showing as an input box or drop down box. But I want to show that in the form of in the form of selecting categories. I will show you in my next slides. So in those kind of stuff, we will need the control value accessor for overriding the behavior of our Angular forms in like some other way of styling rather than the input element. So for these kind of stuff, actually we need control value accessor help. So the control value accessor is a bridge between your Angular Forms API, which Angular had provided, and your native elements in the DOM. So if we can see beside the this snippet is taken from the Angular documentation. It's about the control value accessor behavior and the methods they have provided us. So control value accessor interface providing us these four methods: right value, register on change, register on touched, and set disabled state. So we will cop up step by step these methods and how these methods will help us uh, to get fully functional for Angular Forms API with the help of control value accessor. So first of all, if we are talking about the right value method, which is actually the first method provided by this control value accessor interface. So this function is actually this function is actually responsible for updating the value of your element updating your value of the element, and it will be calling by the forms API. So let's suppose your ng model or form model value is changed, and this function is actually on that state, this function will be called, and the latest value which is coming in the methods, so we can use that in argument kind of stuff, and we should have to like update our latest value to the component. So like let's suppose there, we have a form component, and inside that form component we are actually overriding the form behavior, and we have made an element which is actually kind of interacting as some other UIs, but on the back side it will have a form the form reactivity. So these kind of stuff, let's suppose it's been changed. So after the change of that form control value or the model, so after that change, form API will call control value accessor method, which is right value. And after calling that right value, that updated value coming in that, so that value should be passed to our view or DOM or the component to update the value and render on our view. So after updating the value, so ng model or changes will be like updating the form API. Okay, so this is actually the main purpose of RightValue, which is actually provided by ControlValueAccessor interface in Angular. So the second method is register on change. So the thing I was talking about in my previous slide. So let's suppose this category carousel is looking like a custom component, but it's a custom component, but behavior of that component is actually on the back side. It's actually a reactive form. Which is built by some other chunk, and that is actually reusable in our code base, in our main component, form component. So register on change is the function. It will be called when any of the category will be clicked. So this is our example of selecting categories. So I will show you in the live code base as well how it will be going to work. So the main function of register on change method is like it will be called when we interact, when we click on any of our categories from here. So that's actually main purpose of that. So we can we after clicking on any of the category, we have actually access to a function in the argument. We can save that value in our local variable and use ahead. So this is I have mentioned in the slide as well, like in our case it will be fires whenever user clicks on category. So register on change method will be fired after that. Okay, so let's move ahead in the slide. The third method provided by this interface is register on touch, which is actually very similar to the register on change we have discussed just earlier in the slide now. So this method is actually for the touch events. Like if we see on this register on change, this will be called when let's suppose our application is accessible on the browser, and like user click on any of the categories, so it will be fired. So same as register on touch is like it's about the interaction. Let's suppose our application is open on the mobile application or handheld devices, so this will be called when the category is touched. The last method is set disabled state. This is actually a boolean kind of state which is actually provided by the interface. This will be we can use this value as like maintaining the disabled state kind of stuff with the styling part. Like let's suppose I want to minimize the opacity of a form of any of the categories. So for these kind of stuff, we can take help of this stable set disabled state here. Okay, so now we can see in the Eagle view with the help of Eagle view, like how it will be going to work, and if we want to implement that control value accessor to override the behavior of form, and kind of we can breaking out that complex chunk into the form element, and we can use the control value accessor. So this is how we can use this. So we can implement the control value accessor provider for our category selector component. So like inside that, let's suppose I have a category selector component which I'm overriding the behavior of form component. So in that expose child component of category selector, so I should have to create this control value accessor provider. So we can initialize this with the constant variable and the name you want to, and the name which is actually very familiar with your, like in my case it's category control value accessor. So I have used the name with underscores, and it's actually a provider type. So inside that we have provide ng value accessor, which is actually identifying this is an existing form. So we are overriding the behavior of that. So for that we have included that. So use existing, it's we on the second property use existing, we are actually forwarding a reference of our categories form component, so which is actually the form component. Inside that I'm using this as a forward reference. So this is the first step. We should have to provide we should have to add the provide in our category selector component. The second step we have to do is we have to provide that provider in like the in the just previous slide we have taken a look like how to create a provider. So in the second step we should have to pass that provider in the array of component decorator. So if you can see on the last inside the component decorator there are last property which is providers there. This is an array. So inside that I should have to pass that constant name which I have used to create a provider. So I'm passing that in the component categories form component. And you can also see like it's actually implementing the control value accessor. So that's why I have mentioned we have actually mentioned implements keyword after implements keyword, and we have implementing this from the control value accessor. So this categories component form, this categories form component, it's a form component which I have just shared with you, this select category. So this is actually the category form category selector component. So its implementation is here. So we are actually implementing the control value accessor inside this. Okay, so this is about, so final thoughts, like why we are using this and why we need this about. So we can write and like do all kind of complex stuff with the form elements and use like if we are using that control value accessor interface, so we can handle them without any logic, and we can communicate between the parent and child relationship kind of stuff. So this is a forms api, and this control value accessor is actually been a magic for us to if we are using them. So we can also, like, the main purpose of using this control value accessor CVA is like I also mentioned that if we are having the complex form inside that, we like if we are architecting that form and we analyze that this is a complex part, like the select category is a single separate part, and let's suppose selecting the position is some different part, and the Google Maps API we should have to like let's suppose we are consuming the Google Maps API and we are rendering the Google Maps there. So that's also and we want to like breaking out these type of complex chunks into the smaller components. So in this way, like, it's easily manageable. So I've created a sample application, a fast application, which so that I can show you guys like how it will be going to work and how it will be like interacting and showing in the live code base. So this is, here is the GitHub repo as well. It's hosted on GDG Soweto GitHub. So let me show you. Okay, so now let's code it.
Hi, Mohammed.
Yeah,
Can I just ask you a question quickly there?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so I just wanted to find out when you said that the form data will be stored as a local variable, do you mean on the application on the browser for the client?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Thank-
it's been like, let's suppose when a category is clicked, when a category is clicked, so the register on change is a method which will be called, and like it will be giving you the value of that selected category. So that can be either you can store it in your local variable, and after that passing and using that inside the component. So for these kind of stuff we can use that. Okay, so this is actually you can see that inside this is my Angular application. So inside that application, I've created a components folder. And inside that component, I have a service request component. You can see that. And inside this, if we can analyze this by like how what is this service request component. So this service request component is a simple Angular component which is using which is using Angular reactive forms. If you can see on line number 2, we are actually importing this we are importing this Angular forms module here, and we are using its properties in classes, right? So this is the form component. Inside this service request, if you can see, this is a matter like after importing that, we should have to in the Angular, we should have to make a constructor here. And we, after creating the constructor, this is how we are actually initiating the form which will be which we will be creating. So the first field is name, contact, category, package, service date, and payment. So these kind of stuff you are looking in here, right? And this is I'm initializing this on the ng on init lifecycle method of Angular. So after creating,
Sorry, Mohammed, could I just ask
yeah,
you to zoom in a bit there so we can see the code clear?
okay, yeah,
Thanks.
sure. Is it cleared now?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so let me revise it again. Okay, so this is on the line number 2. I'm actually exploring this service request component. So this service request component, it's actually module. This inside this module, we are having the service request component. So this component is only a single component which is using the Angular forms module. Here on the second line, I have imported it, and the second step we should have to do is we are actually creating a constructor of the form builder, which is actually being the class of this Angular forms module. So after creating this, I am actually creating a constructor of this. And inside the after on the third step, I should have to initialize a form. So for that, I have created a single method of form init, and I have created a program form, which is actually a type of any, and it's actually exposing with the form group. So it will be a form group that will be usable. So for that, I'm actually creating and initializing this Angular reactive form. The first property is the first element is name, second is contact, category, package, and blah blah. So these are actually the form elements. So in my HTML file, if you can see, there are actually certain form elements, input elements. So here actually, if you can see, this is a form control. The form control name is name. So this name is actually already created when we initialize this. So here we have created the name. So for that, I have to pass that form control name here, right? So in this form, you are looking after you are looking contact here. So this is the inside inside the category, on line number 20, you can see I have created a reusable component, and this reusable component is nothing only, it will be a component that is actually exposing the CBA interface that will be using that. For that, we will be using that. So this is a app category form component. I will show you the code inside that as well. So what it will be, I'm only passing this form control name to the category as I am passing the form control name to the normal input elements. So this is actually the main reason and magic behind this control value accessor interface that provides us. So we are passing the form control name category, which is created here on the third on line number 37 here, right? So I'm only passing that category property here. So if you can go, this is a simple form here, and after that we have a request now button. So the main purpose of creating this to show you guys like how it will be going to work. So this is the complex part of logic that will be going inside that inside this categories form component. So rather than this is actually the main reason, that's why we should have to make our components very clean and neat. So the move the logic behind in the partial small chunks. So that's why we are using this. So if I can go in the And the categories form component, that's actually a reusable component. So if I'm opening it here, so you can see this, the first step is like we are importing the Angular forms here, and we are using control value accessor interface from here, and the ng value accessor. I've also shared in the slides as well. So this is the first step I have to do to create a provider of my CVA interface. And the second step is to pass that provider name control category control value accessor in the providers of this component. So this is how. And after that, the third step is to is to mention that implements keyword and to provide this control value accessor, which is actually an interface of Angular forms. We are implementing this categories form component from this control value accessor. Okay, so these are the steps to be creating your CVA and to override your CVA components with the helping of the CVA. So these I have created an array of categories inside this, and in the array of categories, array of objects, we have ID, name, and image of that category. So let me show you, these are the methods provided by the interface. So I have mentioned the small kind of text above here, above every method, so that you guys can understand like how it will be working, and for which reason they are actually working on. So select category, this method I have created, this method is only will be fired when we will be click on the category. So inside the component HTML file, you can see that it's very simple. It's only a 12 line of code. So this is actually a repeated loop of ng4 I have run over here, and inside that I have used this image and category name, and it's a selected icon, and this is actually a method which I showed you just this select category method on line number 35. This select category method, when we are clicking on that from HTML file, so it's passing the ID parameter from there. And then after we are actually registering the method of on touched and on change. So these kind of methods from the interface which CVA provides us. So after selecting the category, I am passing the category ID here as well, right? So it will be making sure like when it will be clicked, so it will be showing up here. Let me show you in the browser like how it will be looking. Okay, so my server is running. If I can go to the browser and show you guys. So this is the application form which I was talking about. So you can see inside the form there are normal input elements like this input box for the number kind, and this input box as a selector, the select tag, and this for the selecting the date, and this is for also the drop down, right? But rather than that, other than that, select category is also a form component, also a form element, but it will be looking like some in the other way. Like its UI is completely appealing, like it's very user friendly, user can see. We can also we What if I can also use this drop down value to show the mini size, SUV, miniman, and cruiser kind of stuff, but it's not that user friendly. User cannot like see when user comes on this form, so it will be like very appealing to show and understand like which type of car I have. And so I have to click on that, and it's actually very appealing. So behind the scenes, how it will be working when I refresh this page. So when user comes landed firstly on this page, so user can see there are actually certain kind of categories. So when I click on this, so the method of register on change which I discussed provided by CVA, after clicking on this, that will be fired. And also that will be providing the ID or current selected ID. On the basis of that, I have actually used that this green border radius and applied this green check icon here. So that's actually very good kind of stuff. So the main reason behind using the CVAs is to like override your form components in a way that to provide to develop these amazing kind of input elements, like for the custom input elements, and you can override the form behavior, and you can create it, and like the life cycle the methods provided by ControlValueAccessor interface are also there, so you can use them, and like it will be amazing. So for these kind of, only these two components will be using that. So service request, the component which I was talking about earlier. So this service request, there are actually two components. One is service request component, which is actually a main component of form, like name, contact, and all kind of stuff. So this is the main component, service request form, right? But this select category component, this is actually a child component which I was talking about. This is category forms component we are talking about, and it's actually been mentioned up here. So this is how we have actually called that reusable component with the help of selector here. So you can find this selector inside the TypeScript file of your child component. When you open your child component on see that it's a selector. Of that, you can create a tag, and with that tag actually you can use that. So inside that, you can notice, if you are an Angular developer, so you have noticed that I didn't use any concepts here like input decorator and output decorator. So it's, rather than creating and like emitting the events from my child component to parent component, so it's very kind of maintaining that kind of logic. So it's actually very simple to override this CVA interface and only provide your form control name here, and inside your child component, your custom form element you are designing, you are developing. So inside that only you should have to make sure of these methods, and these methods will give you the certain values on touch, on disable kind of methods provided by CVA. And with these stuff you are actually flying high to create your amazing forms. So if you I have actually exposed this, I've actually created this repository on our GDG Soweto GitHub. So you can find this GDG Soweto GitHub on github.com/GDG Soweto. So for that, for you guys, actually I have created that. So you should only have to like clone this repo and run npm install and npm start. So after that you can analyze the code. So if you guys have any questions, so here's my Twitter handle, so you guys can approach me. So Awais Sheikh _ it's my Twitter handle, so you guys can approach me as well. So I will be also sharing the slides URL with you guys. So it's all this is all about this technical presentation. So now I'm up for the questions if you guys have.
Okay, thanks for that talk, Mohammed. I think what you can do is provide the links to your slides in the chat. And for anyone who has questions, could you please provide them in the chat as well, and then we'll go along. I think maybe in the meantime, Mohammed, while we wait for the questions, you can just tell us what you love so much about Angular, as besides these amazing components that you've shown us, and maybe give us a little background of how long you've been playing around with Angular.
Actually, for Angular, to be very honest, I'm working throughout, like when Angular generally started, when Angular is founded by Google. So I was actually I was using the Angular. I'm working on Angular since Angular JS, which is Angular 1. So after Angular 1, there's Angular 2 plus cams over, which is actually having the capabilities of TypeScript, which is founded by Microsoft. So it's actually been very appealing to use the proper object-oriented programming kind of concept. So it's actually very amazing to do that. So day by day, Angular is providing the amazing concept. So behind behind this, we are having with the amazing concept, like we can use RxJS for store ngrx. We can use like Redux kind of pattern to for managing the state and all kind of stuff. So Angular is like providing amazing things for every new release. So they're actually providing fastly releases now. So now Angular is very capable, very kind of amazing and super fast if you are working with your application. So yeah, this is amazing kind of working experience with the Angular. I'm also an Angular core community member. I'm core community member of Angular Dutch, and I'm also a community member of Angular Nation as well. So these kind of stuff like amazing, and also I'm fully functional and a special community member of GDG Soweto as well. Thank you for supporting me and providing me the platform to talk with you guys.
Okay, awesome, Mohammed. If anything, thank you, man. You've been a really big help to GDG Soweto.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Mohammed, I just want to ask you something quickly there. The Sukho here speaking. So a very basic question regarding the whole routing there and the service request. I want to understand, For example, if you had Angular tied to, let's say, set on touched, can you hook up service requests or post requests to that state? Thanks.
Yeah, actually, for these kind of stuff, if you are clicking on the routes like you have just talked about, so they are about lazy loading in the Angular as well. We can lazy load your modules, and inside those modules we are having the components, right? So inside that component, if you want to trigger the element on the initiating or on the opening of that component, so you can write a simple method. And inside method you can like you should have to use the HTTP client module for select for queuing the for hitting the server APIs. For that, you can create a single method. Inside that method you should have to write your API call, and that method will be called on the initiate method. Or if you want to call an API or service request, you want to do on the click or on the event of any element, so you should have to use the Angular methods provided for the elements for click and ng change, so kind of stuff. So in the newer Angular, we have only a change method with the circular brackets you can use on the button elements, and for the change you can use it on the selector drop downs input element. So for these kind of stuff, you can just hook up that method which is calling the API to that element click or event method. So that will be actually very easy to use that.
Okay, thanks, Mohammed. I understand you there.
So where should I share the GitHub repo? However, I've shared it on the slide as well. If the event attendees can see on the second last slide, so it's mentioned there like my GitHub, the GDG Soweto GitHub page, so they can find out from here as well. So I will share the GitHub URL and the Angular documentation URL as well, so they can take a look on that. And I will also share those things on my Twitter, so you guys can retweet it, or users can see from there. That will be helpful, I think, right?
Okay, I know that would be awesome if you could just have that in the chats as well, so that those who just want to click on it directly can just do so. Because I'm
Yeah.
not seeing any questions. Either your talk was like that informative, or they super shy. Because I can say, hey, that was proper code, man.
Yeah, sure. So here is the slide URL, and let me share my Twitter handle as well. Chat. Also, here is a GDG Soweto GitHub URL, so they can see. So inside this, if I can give you the go through of the GDG Soweto page. So this is actually GDG Soweto GitHub page. So inside that, we are a developer program member of GitHub as well. So we are actually collaborating with the developers, and we are maintaining the teams here inside GDG Soweto GitHub. And for every technical talk, we are for the sample work, we are actually creating a repository here and performing the test tasks before the technical talk. So this is how, like, in 1 year back, I have did a technical talk with GDG Soweto on Angular lazy loading. So this code is also there, and now I'm presenting in 2021, which is ControlValueAccessor custom form, which is interface. So also I've created a repository here, so you guys can see our GDG Soweto Twitter from here as well. So this is all about.
Okay, Mohammed. No, thanks for the great talk, man. I think everyone got what they came here for. So yeah, I think I just like to say thank you for coming again today. We definitely would like to host you again in the future. And
Yeah.
thank you to everyone else who attended for the first time today. Shout out to Hugo from Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have read the text from here as well. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for attending.
Yeah.
Okay, Mohammed, you just send us those links again on Twitter so we can keep retweeting it. And
Yeah,
thank you to
sure.
everyone for attending.
Okay, guys, it's been an awesome one. Like Lesotho said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys.